Hey fellas, how you doing? It's Johnny Berba. Just had a, if you call it a revelation or just a flash moment of a realization. This might not make no sense, but washing clothes gets rid of social anxiety. I know this is going to make no sense, but I'm going to explain it, and probably going to have to go deep to explain this. This is especially to men. I know that women watch my stuff. It will be relevant for women as well, but this is directly aimed at men. So I'm hand washing some clothes today, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm washing clothes. And this seems like something that's so normal, but it wasn't normal for me. I couldn't wash clothes. Washing clothes gave me social anxiety. Now, if you've never had social anxiety, that would make no sense. And it clicked to me today. It's like every single event in my life connected, and it explained to me why I was the way I was, why I was so anxious, why I was so jealous, why I was so angry, why I didn't trust anyone, why I was so paranoid, why I had depression, why I did so many inappropriate things in my life with my addictions, with taking drugs, hitting people, being violent, being aggressive, being a negative person, being impatient, not being able to be present, eating disorders, eating bad food. Everything in my life flashed before me, and I just thought, wow, can't believe it. I just appreciate this moment, just to feel relaxed in my own body, just to feel safe in the environment, just to not feel violent, just to not have that horrible feeling of jealousy and all those negative emotions, all the shameful feelings and thoughts. And I thought, it makes sense, it makes total sense. And I didn't even understood how I understood my own psychology. Does that make sense? I've done years upon years of personal inquiry, personal development, confidence building, going down to the boxing gym to improve my strength. All of my experience in life, all of my mistakes, and a lot of the things I did right. And then it dawned upon me, it came up, for washing clothes overcomes social anxiety. It explained it to me, and I thought, this is mad, this is mental. Something so simple like hand washing clothes. There's so many people around the world that just think I'm crazy, just think it's just washing clothes, but you don't understand. You don't understand. When you've got social anxiety, you're afraid of everyone, you're afraid of everything. You're afraid of life. You're afraid to speak. You're afraid of people to hear your voice. You're afraid of a connection's painful. And you hate people, but you don't really hate people. It's a defensive mechanism because you think everyone hates you. You don't even want to have eye contact with people because it feels like they can see you through you. They can see that you're suffering and you're awkward. So that's why you don't wash clothes. That's why you don't tidy your bedroom. That's why you get afraid if the phone rings. That's why you get a panic attack if there's a letter from the bank. That's why you think everyone's going to start on you, going to give you trouble. That's why you don't trust people. That's why when people are nice to you, you think there's got an agenda. They're being nice, but they're not actually being nice. They're just, I don't know. It's mad. I can't explain it. And then you don't trust your own family, and then you don't trust yourself, and you're thinking, how on earth can I not trust myself? I am myself. And then you're saying, well, actually I'm not myself. Because when you're talking to people, you know that you're not being yourself with the social anxiety when you're struggling with it. You're agreeing, you're people pleasing, you're not even there. You don't even want to have a conversation. It's too painful, it's too frightening. So stuff like washing clothes is impossible. That's why, and I know this myself, and it sounds, I don't want to be arrogant saying this, but I know that men that suffer with social anxiety are afraid to move out of their parents' house. You're afraid to move out of your parents' house because you think that you can't survive by yourself. It's the fear of responsibility. That's what I wanted to say. There's fear in every way. So you've got performance anxiety, and I literally mean performance anxiety, speaking in front of a camera, speaking out loud, going into shops, making eye contact, ordering food. Performance anxiety in a romantic sense with a woman. As I said, you're afraid of connection. You're also angry at the fact that you can't connect with people. But you can, but you're too afraid to. And I think everyone handles it in different ways. I handled my social anxiety. I was angry. It made me furious. I couldn't even admit it to myself. I couldn't even admit that I hated myself and I didn't like myself, regardless of what people said. People give you all kinds of in many different ways. People try and give you hope. Usually, obviously, family gave me a lot of hope. Oh, you're a good-looking guy, you're so lovely, a woman's going to be lucky. You don't believe it. You don't believe it. You don't believe it because you don't feel that way about yourself. So of course, this is where sub-personalities take place. They protect you. And it's really weird. I'm speaking for myself at a particular stage of my life. You know you're doing it, but you don't even want to admit. You don't even want to. It's so weird. You play a trick on yourself. You don't want to admit that you are acting up, acting out to hide. And that's why I was violent for so many years. That's why I didn't really trust people. And I didn't enjoy being violent. I didn't enjoy hitting people, going to nightclubs, getting into fights, and then having to deal with the shame and the guilt that comes with that. And feeling so lonely. Feeling so lonely to the point where you're embarrassed to tell people. You're embarrassed to say to another human being, I'm really lonely. I want to die. I don't want to be here. I'd rather be dead. But you're too afraid. I was too afraid to take my own life. And then having to deal with the voices that come up. Be a man. Don't be so pathetic. Don't seek sympathy. Don't be so weak. People are going to judge you. The judgment, that's what come up. And then you have to deal with you're lazy. And I'm using this as a metaphor. You have to deal with the internal voice of don't be so lazy. Don't be so lazy. Get out of bed, you lazy fucking git. Get a job. So you've got this societal voice, this inner voice that says you're lazy. So you go into the job centre, I'm speaking of myself here, you're signing on, and you're deeply ashamed because you know you can do better. So you've lowered your standards because you're too afraid to be around confident people. You don't feel good enough. But then there's a part of you that does feel good enough, and you've got all this confusion, sorry. So you can't wash your clothes. You have to go to your mum and say, Mum, can you wash my clothes for me? I'm a grown man. And I'm embarrassed to ask my mum. I feel like my dad's judging me. I feel like my friends are judging me, that life judging me because I can't wash clothes. And that's why I said washing clothes gets rid of social anxiety. Today I realised it was another epiphany. I felt so lucky, so grateful. I thought I have to put this video out and to share it with other people and please God, hopefully help them to overcome their social anxiety. I couldn't even wash a pair of socks out. It gave me terror. It was easier to have a street fight and to take my anger out on someone and to fight with other negative people than it was to get some soap powder, go down to the 24-hour shop, put some washing powder into the sink, run the tap and squeeze out and wash the clothes, put the clothes in the dryer, and it makes me feel good when I do that. Why does it make me feel good to wash my clothes out? Because it makes me respect myself. It makes me actually care about my body. It makes me care about other people because we can't give what we don't have. So when I used to feel bad, I feel really bad that I've treated that guy bad or I've been horrible to that woman, I've spoke down to my mum. But I couldn't like myself, I didn't like me. So how could I give someone else what I didn't have? Even when I tried to be nice to people, I'd get a voice in my head saying, you sneaky piece of shit. You're just pretending to be nice because you want some kind of appraisal, you want a reward. So I couldn't win. I've said it in my last video. This demon kept beating me. If I'm nice, I'd get voices saying, you're a piece of shit, you're a dirty, hopeless piece of shit, you're just being nice because you want people to give you stuff. When I was being nasty, it would say, yeah, this is who you really are, you're a nasty, spiteful piece of shit. It was from a vicious area and you went to school and no one liked you. And you can't change. So I couldn't wash my clothes at that particular stage in my life. Even when I was dating all my girlfriends, they were washing my clothes for me. I didn't feel good, it didn't feel nice to have a person or a woman washing my clothes because I couldn't do it myself, I couldn't take responsibility, and I considered myself a man. Because I thought being a man was being in control physically. There was some part of my psyche, somewhere in life I picked up that information. And I really believe, but I knew it was a load of rubbish. I knew it wasn't true. Because the people I looked up to, the men that I idolised, They was not violent men. They didn't need to be. I always wanted confidence. I wanted the confidence not to fight. I wanted the confidence. I wanted social confidence. I wanted to be able to walk down the street and not get 50,000 voices saying someone's going to try and attack me, or that person in that vehicle looked at me and thinks I'm a bad person. These irrational thoughts that made me sick. They made me sick with worry. Didn't want to get out of the bed. Bad hygiene, bad thinking, bad behaviour, everything trapped in this mental illness. I actually remember on many levels thinking, and this is part of a defensive mechanism because I was so ashamed about my low self-esteem and my mental illness. I remember thinking, I'm not mad. And almost that proudness, the false ego, almost that proudness of saying, I'm not mad, everyone else is mad. Everyone else is fucking crazy and dysfunctional, sorry my language. But that's how I felt. And the loneliness was terrible. The loneliness, the fear of never getting a girlfriend, the fear of never being loved, that was infuriating. To actually feel that you're not a lovable person, that you're not good enough to be alive. And I remember many occasions, I remember going on the internet about 10 years ago for answers, and even when the gurus and the teachers were saying that you can change the world, you can become an amazing person, I thought, yeah, that's true, but that's not true for me. I can't be forgiven the things I've done. I've slept with prostitutes, I've hit people, I've knocked people out, I've kicked people in the head, I've put people in hospital, I've hit people with hammers, I've hit people, I've just done every kind of wrong thing. How can I be forgiven for what I've done? I've stolen from shops, I've been a thief, I've sold drugs, I've sold drugs to people, I've gave drugs to get money, I've lied, I've gone behind people's back and in their face been nice to them, and behind their back said said all kinds of things about them. How can I be forgiven? How could I ever change? So I've got to stay as I am in this horrible place, in this mental hell. But deep down, I know this is not who I am. I know this is not who my family raised. But some incidents in my life have traumatized me. So I've got to put on a persona, many personas, a million personalities to fit in. And of course I'm around other violent people and I can see straight through their dishonesty. And the only reason I can see straight through a man's dishonesty because I was a dishonest man. I was afraid of what I was. I was afraid of me. It's incredible. Washing clothes overcomes social anxiety. So going out and judging people, I was always judging people. So I thought they're judging me as a defensive mechanism. And then you feel awful, you feel guilty, because you're judging another man or a woman. You don't even know the person, you don't know what they've been through. And I remember on many occasions just being in different environments thinking, fucking hell, these people have got no respect, they've got no class, they're all thieves and they've got no respect. But I was like that. I was just like, man, I can't get out of this. It's like, oh God, everywhere I go. Years of hiding and thinking, I can't find anyone that I can speak to, that I can trust to get this out, because they're either going to judge me, or it's painful to even admit to it to myself, to even verbalize it. I couldn't deal with it. As it says in psychology, I couldn't cope with the pain. I had to distract myself with addictions, films, chocolate bars, takeaway food, avoidance of eye contact. I know this makes no sense, but I know it makes sense to people who are suffering from this. I could not look people in the eye, made me angry. I didn't want people to see me. Put my head down, avoidance. So as I said, washing clothes overcomes social anxiety. I remember my mum saying on many occasions, I've got the voice in my head, and she was being kind, Jonathan, you're going to have to take responsibility. And I remember being angry. I remember saying, what do you mean? What do you mean? Anger, that's the pain body coming up. Because what I was saying was, I'm scared, Mum. I'm afraid of men. I'm afraid of people. I can't speak to them without feeling embarrassed and scared and angry and jealous. I can't be around people. The only people I can be around is people like me that are jealous, angry and violent, because I don't feel judged. I remember being so jealous and feeling so bad for feeling jealous, going to nightclubs and seeing a good-looking guy, handsome, good-looking, socially relaxed with a nice girl, and just, this is an awful thing to say, but I've got to get it out. I'm not like this no more. Just thinking, I want to go and hit him and take his girlfriend, because how come she goes out with him and not me? Because I'm a nice guy, but deep down, well, I'm not really a nice guy, because I'm a bully, and I'm angry, and I'm jealous and violent and insecure and unstable. Why does she want to go out with a guy like me? But being so angry that, how comes he's got a nice life and I've suffered and I was a good person? I got bullied at school. I got pissed on, I got spat on, I got called a stupid geek. I got bullied all my life. So all that anger was in me. People were frightened of me, I knew it. It's so embarrassing, it's so ashamed, but it's good to get it out, it's good to say it. People were frightened of me. People got nervous when they met me. They could sense how angry I was. It frightened people. And part of me enjoyed it because I was afraid of connecting with people because of my anxieties. I didn't want to connect, I was afraid of being rejected. Can you believe that? A grown man of 22, 23 is afraid of being rejected. It's such a weird complexity. Because part of me rationalized, I'm not afraid of rejection. I was afraid of being rejected by people. I was afraid of being abandoned. Because I felt that my family had abandoned me. It wasn't even true, but this is what my mental illness did. I thought, I can't trust my dad. I couldn't even sit with my mum and dad without feeling scared all the time. I didn't want to tell them, I didn't want to hurt their feelings, because of course deep down I loved them. I didn't want to say, Dad, Mum, you know I can't sit with you because you frighten me. How can I tell my mum and dad that? They're going to think I'm crazy. They're probably going to call the mental health service and say, come, but they wouldn't do that. I'm just exaggerating, but telling the truth, making it light. But I remember deep down thinking, I'm actually a really good person. I remember thinking, the people that are around me that are angry, they're good people deep down. All men are born equal. That's what Christ said, that's what Jesus Christ said. All men are born equal. Of course they're all born equal. And I realised that I wasn't born this way. I wasn't born jealous, I wasn't born a bully, I wasn't born a violent person, I wasn't born a manipulative, sneaky person, I wasn't born dysfunctional. These were the experiences that I went through. Then as I was washing the clothes, I thought, fucking hell, yeah, my family were good to me, my mum was good to me. They made some mistakes, but every family makes mistakes, no one's perfect. But it was just my, it was the way I dealt with it, it was what happened. It was my own psychology. And I used to be so hard on myself. I set standards that were so high. I couldn't reach these standards. And of course, in not reaching these standards, I beat myself up. Inner voice, you're not making 50,000 grand a year, so you're not good enough. You're not good enough, Jonathan. You're not going out with the best looking model in the world, you're not good enough. You're not confident enough. You don't speak right, you don't sound like, you don't walk right, you don't look right. I couldn't win, it just destroyed me, these inner demonic voices. Or if I did achieve something of any significance, to say, yeah, but that's not good enough. Such a vicious internal critic. And as I said before, such complexity to feel worthless, but to set such high standards. I used to say, well, if I'm worthless and I'm no good, and no one loves me, and I can't be trusted, and I'm not even part of society, why set such high standards? But of course, in the midst of all this confusion, this jealousy, this violence, this hate, I was an honest person. And that's where the strength's at, that's where the integrity's at. And obviously, over the years, I overcome it. And I do remember thinking, when I overcome this, I'm going to help other people. So today, the realization came in the midst of washing clothes. It just dawned on me, I got a flashback, because obviously, I hope I'm not confusing you guys and girls, as I'm washing the clothes, it made me appreciate, oh, I've overcome it, of course, and I've got a flashback of all the things I've done. I had to be kind to myself. I had for once in my life, because I got to a stage where got good at being kind to people. Did public speaking, which was something I could never do. What else did I do? I don't know. I went on hundreds of dates with attractive women. I taught hundreds of men all around the world, in person and through the YouTube videos. I have to give myself some credit. I rebuilt the relationship with my dad. Told my dad the truth and he appreciated it, it was fine. Told my mum the truth, they were fine. Family love you. I'm saying this for me, but I'm saying this to help other people. I know people going through this who think their family don't love them. Of course your family love you. I knew my dad loved me. I knew I loved my dad. I was afraid. I was afraid to tell my dad I loved him. It didn't feel right because of all this madness of this social anxiety, this disorder. I knew I could overcome it. I knew I had the strength. I knew God would give me the strength. But it was not going to be comfortable, but it would be worth it. And eventually I could wash my own clothes. I could socialize with people without feeling terrified. I could take responsibility. I could respect myself. I could respect other people. It takes confidence to respect other people. It takes confidence to be nice. And these are things that most of our society doesn't appreciate, because they just think, well, of course it's common practice to be nice, but not when you've got this illness, it isn't. It's not easy to be nice to people because you don't think that you're good enough to be nice. You don't think that people are going to appreciate it because you don't think you've got any value. But of course it's an illusion. The social anxiety is not real. It's only what your mind creates. You have to challenge it. And it's not a comfortable practice, but it is worth it in the end. So that's my story. That's the epiphany I got. I know it's going to resonate. And I've broken past all the boundaries. It's important I share this so other people know, well, if Johnny can do it, I can do it, and you can do it. Because I was in a torturous place years ago. I was in the worst place you can imagine. Suicidal, brittle, angry, putting on an act. I was in a bad place and I've overcome it. Through the grace of God and through the help of many good people, and really having a lot of courage, because I've always said to myself, and I've got right low and I can't handle it, I'm not having this, I'm not going out like this. And then of course, in saying that, you recognise your own value, but you've got to be yourself. You've got to be the true self, not the one of many, not the different personalities that tries to escape. The more you try and escape social anxiety, the worse it gets. So you gradually start practicing it. That's it, I'm going to stop speaking. Washing clothes overcomes social anxiety. Even if you didn't understand what I'm saying, I know you'll understand it. Enjoy the process.